What's up, Internet? Welcome back to the Roottrees Are Dead. In the last episode, we made the staggering discovery of Guy Hudson's fuckery. Basically, what we discovered was that the company records actually are extremely important to figuring out all of Guy Hudson's people, as each of the different flavors that he had developed, quote unquote, is not a flavor development, but instead they relate to the kids. And the way that we found that out was, the way that I discovered that was specifically with the sugar plum one, which all of these other ones are 10,000 a month, but this one is 20,000 a month, which means that we got the twins. So now I think this may just be the last episode of this series, because I think we're just gonna have to go through and determine who exactly is left. Now the only other thing is, I know I haven't received the achievement for all evidence. I don't know if I'm ever gonna get that, but we're gonna certainly try. I definitely have other stuff here for. Let me just do my last check, because it's been a second. So we have those two. I don't have the stuff for you, which makes me a little bit worried. So I don't have all of Flavio's evidence. I don't have all of the Garland's evidence. I do have all of yours. I have all of Mark's. I have all of Stewart's. And I believe I have all of Frank's. So I just owe some evidence for Flavio. Oh, and 5 Ps. And I have everything for 5. So the boys and Flavio, which I think is possible. Let's try to get that. But I did think about this, and I was trying to figure out what I need to look up here. Let me check out their kids. Specifically Ron's kids, obviously. We're talking about Jack and Christina Roottree. I don't know if I'm going to get anything, but we might as well try. Let's see. Jack Roottree. How about Christina Roottree? Okay, how about the periodicals? Okay, how about Penelope again? Oh, yeah, it's gonna just go back to the same thing. Leslie Florence. How about, can I put Leslie Florence in here? Nothing. Is that the right name? Yeah. Leslie Florence was the other actress besides Gwen in Guys Like Us. Before Guys Like Us, she was in a few very small supporting roles, and her performance in Guys Like Us was generally thought as quite good, especially considering she got second billing to Gwen. Even with the success and acclaim, she retired from Hollywood almost immediately after her co-starring role. Not much was known about her until recently, when Guys Like Us was re-released right at the tail end of Roottrees Mania. Recently, as part of the myriad of articles and research people have done into those surrounding the Roottrees, it came out that she died of a genetic disease known as Huntington's in the late 60s. So yeah, I think the idea is she got pregnant with Ron, died, Gwen took on Ron as a son, and then she was pregnant. She was definitely pregnant, Gwen, at some point. So she definitely had a son, and that was definitely Robbie. So I think Robbie is a Roottree. But the fact that he has Huntington's and Gwen never did is enough of a death sentence that he didn't have it, or that he's not a Roottree. Which means that actually these kids don't get Roottree money either, which is kind of sad. It's almost making me feel bad that of the stuff that I'm doing here. And then Flavio is so hard. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing here. Let's just check. Let's see if there's anything directly on Flaviosaurus. Transmisa Paulo. I wonder if we do Nia Alves in anything here. Nia Alves owns many forms of media in Brazil under the umbrella of Transmisa Paulo. Business Watch has mentioned her by name a few times. The most relevant appearance seems to be an article about the struggles of American media companies to do business with their foreign counterparts due to a difference in laws. A few media groups and countries are discussed, including those in Africa and the Middle East. Transmisa Paulo in Brazil is also discussed. Due to a lack of freedom of speech laws in Brazil, there's also been added bureaucracy in publishing certain stories on Transmisa Paulo's channels. I don't think I'm saying that right. Nia is extremely private about her identity and supposedly once used her connections to have a reporter fired from a rival network and blacklisted. The journalist claims that this was to shut down a story he was doing about her personal life, including that her marriage in 1973 was not of her own choice. His research claimed that she essentially had her husband forced upon her as a child bride at the age of 15. Child brides were not outlawed in Brazil until 1990. It also claims that past appearances with her husband have been for show, and they do not live together, and that she resents her own parents for the arrangement. The final claim is that she must have made her money under the table through nefarious and possibly illegal means during Brazil's dictatorship, as his research uncovered that she could not possibly have earned enough to start a media company otherwise. After making this statement, the reporter went into hiding in fear of his safety. That might have been it. Yep. Okay. So yeah, she was getting money, but she was getting Roottrees money. And we know he's a Roottrees, that's for sure. So I want to just, I mean, really the big thing is two things. Which Garland is the Roottrees? And is it Courtney May or is it David? That's the Roottrees. Because we know these two for sure are. So that's that evidence here. I really would love to know what the evidence is for them. Maybe we try to just lock in who is a Roottrees and who's not, and then maybe I finally use the duck. Let's see if we could get away with it. Let's see if we could not do that. It's so annoying that there's like no direction either. I don't really know who else or what else I could be looking up. I'm trying to look at what I have here. I wonder if it's like... No. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, I see. Finding all the smoking guns is going to be actually finding all the evidence, not necessarily determining whether they're a Roottrees or not. This is a tough one, too, because it's so far back and there's so little evidence. Yeah. I feel pretty confident that you're a blood relative. Yeah, so Stewart is not, and now it's just the rest of them, huh? Okay. Let's do this section before I try to do more stuff with the Ron Ronalds. So there's an interesting argument that's now being made if... Well, hold on. Let's do the dates first. So let's work our way backwards. Where's the confidential record? So let's go to this last page here. So cool. So 1982. When is the most recent time I got that? Caviar, Ziegler, strawberry. Caviar, Ziegler, strawberry. So 1982, the year he died, we add sugar plum. So Susan Ford, this is a 1982 situation, which we know because it's the last of them. Before that is strawberry, right? Do I have strawberry the year before? Yes, I do. So strawberry is new as of as of 1980. Okay. Probably not before that. Yeah, just butterscotch and caviar before that. So then it's strawberry and Ziegler. So strawberry and Ziegler are probably strawberry Ziegler. Do they relate to each other? I mean, Ziegler is so clearly her. Is it just like... Is it just like a race thing? That's a little fucked, but... Like, Brazil isn't known for their strawberries, are they? What the hell would Sugar Plum have to do with Susan Ford? I think he just picked a name. That you're like, oh, he reminded me of that. Then you have Christine with her 2 kids. And that would have been... Well, what's the first one? The first one is caviar. Then we add butterscotch. First one is caviar. So if our current prediction is correct, that means this is caviar, this is butterscotch, then Ziegler, strawberry, sugar plum. I'm seeing it. I get it. Even further, he's even more of a dumbass. He's using their first initial. He's using the women he was with's first initial. So that's why caviar is so fucking stupid. Why would you ever make caviar flavored candy? It's not, because he just couldn't think of a different name. He couldn't think of a different name that starts with C. So yeah, Christine is the first affair he has. He pays her off by trying to make a caviar flavored fancy flavor thing. That's 1978. Notice 1978, the first of them. So he doesn't have a J one. Ooh, that's crazy. So no J1. One of these 2 kids comes out. Oh, and I still have one of them here. Shit. I'll look up... You know what? Hold on real quick. What is it? Robert? Yeah. And I don't have... I'm assuming that doesn't work either. Okay. Ah, damn it. What am I supposed to look up here? Christine. How about Christine Garland? Christine Farrow? Puff piece. Christine Garland responded, she and her husband Steve, who is a chef in Antonelli's, met years ago when she delivered produce from her mother's farm. Steve used to work extra hours just to be there during her deliveries. They reconnected by chance and eloped at the end of last year. Now she's a bun in the oven and they're both working as much as they can. She's a secretary but went back to delivering produce on the weekends, trying to save up money to move to Boston and open their own restaurant. So I think probably the older one is the root tree. You are not the root tree. Probably. But this clue probably clues me in exactly as to who's the older and who's the younger. So you're definitely a root tree then. You have the red hair and everything. Also, we should check this here. Which one has... I mean, you look a little bit more like him, I guess. That's I don't ever like going off of that. This is one possible root tree left. Who did I not fill out yet? Oh. I don't think you're a root tree. I'm ready. I could do it. I'm not going to, but I could. Okay, so I don't want to click it until I'm good, so I'm going to leave you out just so I don't accidentally click that. So, all right. So I feel confident in who Guy Hudson paid off. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, technically. That's good. Confirm that. Now, in terms of the other evidence, and here's my other question. Here's where I was getting to. So this is the interesting piece of evidence right now. If yours is close, but you're not, if the Jane Doe that they said was Bonnie Hudson, who the hell is he related to? Because this doesn't just come out of nowhere. You don't have a 99% match versus this, which is probably someone completely different. Alleged paternal aunt. Because also Bonnie Kellogg is not the same on both sides. So I think there's some fuckery going on. I think both of them are wrong. In this one, this is not Bonnie Kellogg. And in this one, this is also not Bonnie Kellogg, but this isn't even... If it's this close to David, he shouldn't have that. So here's my theory. My theory is that Joanna isn't dead. And Joanna is actually Ruby. Ruby Spratt, his mom, is now inside the Roottrees system and fighting for her own son. Or they're in on it or something like that. That'd be weird, but I think they might be. I don't get it fully, but there's really no explanation for having someone that's a close match to him if he's not a Roottree. So I just need to find this evidence, really. That's like really just where we're at. So I have yours. That's great. I need the Garlands. How do I get more evidence for the Garlands? Just gonna keep... I know I'm going down this rabbit hole again, but I think it's important. You're the apple of my pie. James and Robert, you're becoming good, amazing men and incredible chefs. I guess I'm a good teacher. Yeah, and then we're back to Friday. Yeah, we've done all this for sure. Where are they? They're there. Robert, who's 3 years younger than James, jokes that although the age difference has left him delegated to wear the sous chef jacket his whole life, he doesn't mind. So if Robert is 3 years younger than James... Let's go back for a second. Where is... Now she has a bun in the oven in 1978. When did she leave? Yeah, she left as of 78. So 3 years later, 81, she wasn't there anymore. So yeah, then that's for sure. So you confirmed James is the Roottrie. But that said, I don't know what this last piece of evidence is. It's crazy. I really don't know where to get this from. So I feel like I have it. I just need the... I just want to know what this other evidence is. There should be there's going to be at least one more piece of evidence here, I guess. Oh, damn it. I don't want to use the duck. But I don't know what else to look for. Hold on, I have an idea. No. There's just another person in their circle. How about brother trouble? Oh shit. Okay, hold on. Yeah. This is it. Teen Blast did a very short piece about Brother Trouble star TMS's recent stint in rehab and did their best to stay relatively light in tone for their audience of teens. TMS has gone through his fair share of hardships in the past year. We're all still reeling from the death of the Roottrees sisters, and he was closer to them than any of us. After his battle with addiction over the past few years led to a scary near-death experience, he vowed to make a change. He told us he's focusing on himself, his family, and his friends. Last year, I lost my wife, and only a few months ago I found out someone close to me has a pretty serious disease. He asked me not to talk about it, but over the next 5 or 10 years, it will likely get worse. All of the darkness has really put my own life into perspective. I almost threw it away. It turns out the most important thing I could do was stop trying to fix my problems by pretending they didn't exist. I urge your readers to make sure they're taking care of themselves as well. If you need help, seek it out. Good job, TMS. Really, really doing stuff. Okay, how about TMS here? That's got to have been that. What? Hold on. That wasn't it? That was not one of them? Are you kidding? Fucking hell. How about... It's got to be stuff that's, like, not connected at all. Right? It's just got to be stuff that's just generally... We did this. It's not gonna... This is not gonna work. Oop. No. Yeah, I don't really think that there's another... Yeah, I don't know what else I could possibly grab. I feel like I've run my course, but I also know the answer at this point. I feel like it's just waiting. Because without the shadow of a doubt, I feel like this is the only one that I feel not super confident. Might be a Roottrie, but it's impossible to prove, right? All the other ones I feel pretty confident in. Because there was payoff in all the other ones. You are not a Roottrie. Okay. I'm gonna use the duck. Spider search for result from Mark Clementine had several interesting leads on it. Mark? Mark? Mark is not what I need. What are you talking about? Billy Sims. Punched by Crocodile Clementine. And can I do anything here? Saw that one. Saw that one. Saw that one. What? What if I put crocodile clementine in other things? Is that what it's asking for? Oh, here we go. The Portland Telegraph was the one that provided the nickname Crocodile Clementine and had some details about Crocodile Clementine's first major arrest. He was flying weekly between Los Angeles, Juarez, and Vancouver in a small plane. His flights were very low, literally under the radar. He was only caught because he was bit by a crocodile on the leg and had to call in a mayday because he was losing blood. He tried to tell them that he was a crop duster who somehow cut his leg on a loose piece of metal in the cockpit, but his story seemed very odd and controllers quickly alerted police without informing him. When he landed, they were waiting and he was promptly arrested. Interesting. The cookbooks seem pretty central to the Garland affair. They're worth a closer look. The cookbooks? Garnishing the Truth is a cookbook credited to Garland and Zimmer. It was released in 1994. It was actually quite successful after the duo appeared to promote it on a daytime talk show. According to a book review, the recipes are accompanied by stories that help the reader remember the ingredients. The reviewer says that it seems perfect to learn cook with the family. How about Kitchen Tales? There it is. Kitchen Tales was a story-based recipe book credited to Mark Zimmer that had some success after it was featured on a morning talk show. The book, released before the internet was widespread, so mentions are rare. One book collector states that the publishers were unprepared for the demand, that there was no second printing, so it's unusual to find a copy in the wild. You find an alternative medicine website which focuses on cooking with natural ingredients. It mentions that one of Kitchen Tales' recipes used salt water. The owner of the site has included a scan of that recipe, which was added to your evidence. She said, if you switch out the salt water in the recipe for a mix of 2/3 spring water and 1/3 filtered seawater, it tastes great. The plated loaf. What the hell? Kitchen Tales is a book that combines recipes and stories. It had mild popularity, but it seemed to disappear from online marketplaces in 1992. You find a scan of one story on a website. It demonstrates how to bake the plated loaf. I'm just gonna... No, okay. For years, two bakers, Flora and Yates, flirted. They grew their friendship, compared recipes, and combined knowledge. She loved his salt and pepper beard. He adored her rosemary cheeks. They thought sweetly about one another, but he was one day whisked away, conscripted to bake the army's bread. By the oil of the lamp, Flora's tears began to salt her bread. The recipe asks the reader to combine flour, yeast, sugars, olive oil, and rosemary, combine the salt water together, and add the mixture and whisk the dough until it begins to form. It was 10 to 12 years later that they met again, seemingly by fate. Flora's unique dough had earned her position as the king's personal baker. Yates had found success as well. He baked for the kingdom's 45 diplomats. One day they returned from the Dutch Isles with a gift, 450 unbaked loaves, and were sent to the palace bakery to teach a method that required no kneading. Allow the dough to proof for 10 to 12 hours, then spread it out and let it sit for over 45 minutes on a floured baking sheet with no kneading. Next, prepare a Dutch oven preheated to 450 degrees. Upon seeing Yates, Flora was delighted and distraught. She felt if she was torn in two. She had not been made aware of the gift and had already prepared buns for the palace ovens. She wished to greet Yates warmly, but was struck by fears that he'd been unable to bake with her, that she'd face retribution for being unprepared. She cried to Yates, adding more salt to her dough, cut the dough into 2 equal pieces, yada, yada, yada. So this is the story of Christine. So she did sleep with Guy, and then by the time that Steve got back, she was upset because she loved Steve and couldn't have kids with him, but they eloped. Yates eased her pain. He insisted she had no obligation to prepare for a return she thought impossible, but he shared her fear of retribution. He knew if they did not solve her predicament, they'd miss their final chance to bake together. In the end, instead of wallowing in the present, they worked together to shape the future. They twisted and entwined their doughs and baked them as one. Thus was born the plated loaf. Word quickly spread of this new delight. The king's decree on royal parchment was that it should be considered a delicacy. Yada, yada, yada. Bankrolled by the king, Flora and Yates spent their days baking together. They traveled for 45 years, then settled down for 15 more. Their souls were golden, with no regrets. Lastly, bake for 45 minutes, remove lid, yada, yada, yada. Excellent. That might have done it. Yup. Sick. Okay, that's that one. I would have never found that. I doubt I would have found that. Okay, just gonna do one more look around. The only thing I have to find at this point, I think, is the Ron Roottrees line. Right? I'm good there. I'm good here. I have Min's. I have Flavio's. I have yours. I just need... Oh. Wait, old ones count? Oh, that's garbage. What? Oh, if old ones count, then this is gonna get... That's impossible. Alright, then I don't feel bad doing this. You got information on people related to Ron and Robbie in periodicals in your last investigation. It might be useful to revisit those. Okay, so we just have to go find all the old shit. Okay, well, that's much harder. Let's do... I just have to wait until I get it, I guess, basically. Let's see. Brother Trouble. Could be TMS's old piece. I'm just going crazy. Let's see what else we can find. It's a commercial that aired a few years back during the Super Bowl. Oh, what? The Roottrees Maple Super Bowl commercial from 1984 has a family bickering in a department store, and the father bites into a Roottrees Maple Crisp. Time stop and a jingle plays when he dances down the aisle. As he does, different things in the department store become Roottrees candy. For example, a bed that the father collapses onto becomes a giant chocolate bar. The jingle "Need the Rest" went on to be featured in other commercials with other scenarios. The jingle goes, when you're surrounded by mayonnaise and Mad Head, reach for the best. There's enough there to share, but let's face it, you need the rest. Whoa, what? I never got that. That's Clark's famous ad campaign. I never saw that. That's funny. Okay. I don't think I still have it. Nope. Okay. It said people related to the Roottrees, so I guess do I just have to go through all of Gwyn's searches? That's annoying. How about Leslie's old page? How about Wild Bill Williams? His old page. Fortune favors the grave. Oh, maybe it's Wild Bill's. Got it. Right. This is actually what I was... Actually, to be fair, this is what I was looking for. It's an American reader on vacation in Paris claims to have overheard Wild Bill and Gwyn arguing in public while she was holding a baby and visibly pregnant. Not long after, Gwyn announced she was divorcing Wild Bill and also that she was pregnant again, giving this rumor more credibility. Yeah, so that she is pregnant, meaning that she has Robbie. Okay, so that's all the smoking guns. Found them. So now it's just a submit, set, and forget kind of thing. Oh, okay, so I feel good about literally everything on this chart now. Completely. Except for Wild Bill. Or not Wild Bill. Wild Cat. That's close enough. If I had to choose between yes or no, it's definitely leaning yes. But, like... it's not really possible to prove. There's not enough evidence. Other than the fact that I think he is. I'm going to call it he is because specifically because Gwyneth held it over his head, right? That they were having a fight about Beth. I feel like that's it. Let's do it. I think it's it. Let's do it. Oh, that's. Hey, let me do one last check. That photo is in. Oh, this is so sad and so scary. Okay, let's see. Did we get it right? I'm ready. Confirm it. We finished it. But first, Newton Daniel. Family tree complete. It didn't say we got Beatrice Watts and all that. It did. Oh, okay, but it confirmed it. They're back.
Beatrice and Courtney May. Clark, can you swing another test against Bonnie's DNA?
This time I'll be sure to have them verify both samples in person.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Using the family tree you filled out, as well as DNA tests, we were able to uncover the truth behind all the inconsistencies. Clark's handling the business, but I've come to thank you and fill you in on everything we've learned. Buckle up, because it's been one heck of a week. Actually, that's an understatement. It's not every week you discover your family company is being sabotaged by someone they trusted. But that's the kind of time we've been having. Like I said, buckle up. Maybe grab some popcorn. We'll start with Guy Hudson. Guy had a frankly ridiculous number of potential children. What shocked me is how many graduated from potential to confirm.
6 of them.
We can even prove he was aware of them. The smoking gun was how he used company money to pay off a lot of women.
Yep.
He hid it with a method inspired by his idol, Elias. 5-piece flavors. The flavors he was paying to research were a ruse.
First, you want to be seen as a second coming.
He developed flavors based on the initials of the women
Yeah.
he was paying. Which was really stupid, considering one of their names started with X. Let's start with Christine. Guy was paying her under the name Caviar, but there were some other clues. James was born 9 months after Zach's party.
Oh, I didn't catch the actual dating of that. I think for most of it, it just makes sense, right?
Christine was there with Guy, and when she got pregnant, she panicked. Steve stepped up. He even turned it into one of his recipe
Cool,
stories.
glad we got this. So yeah, we got all the story. So this should be repeated
Not
information
all
for
Guy's
us.
affairs led to offspring. He may have slept with Robin Martin, but she didn't have children, so we'll never know.
Yeah. Okay, that's a note. That was a
Also,
false start.
Not every child of Guy's affair partners were his. Robert Garland was born
Yep.
after his parents had already moved to Boston.
Mm-hmm. Yay! Okay, got it.
Skipping Beatrice for now. Up next is Lang Xin-yu. When Guy showed up in China, she was into America.
Yup.
And Americans. Dare I say redheads, even? When she got pregnant, her father paid key genes to fake IVF. They claimed her sister was unable to conceive, but her sister and Jerry had their own son, Mark.
Oh yeah, I never even thought about that. That's actually funny. How did I not catch that? That yeah, they had a child, so that was complete bullshit. That's funny. Ding.
Sonia Alves was soon after. Nia was married at a very young age to a much older husband. She resented him. I don't blame her. They allegedly spent no time together in private. Guy was in Brazil during Christmas 1979. It's the only Christmas not in the records. Flavio was born 9 months later, and like the others, Guy started paying Sonia.
Yeah, I didn't catch up on really. I didn't like follow the thread of the Christmas party. Like the parties are like were the big moments. To be honest, I think that's almost redundant information. Like if you can track the names and catch how many people are going, I think it's fine. You don't need to know exactly when they were born. I don't think that's really necessary.
Last was Susan Ford, hired to translate for Guy's overseas trips. It's easy to read into Guy's donation to her school, but there's no definitive proof there. She and Guy were witnessed together near the end of his life. Susan's husband was convinced he couldn't be the father of her daughters. Guy, though, paid double. The price of twins.
Yep. Ding.
So, what about 5Ps? Felix Fellow's mother, Joanna, doesn't have a 5 pieces flavor. On top of that, his story doesn't really add up. His mother already left the company by the time Guy became president.
Oh.
And his lyrics indicate he was born sometime around 1975. Alone, that wouldn't necessarily prove it. But there are some suspicious connections between Felix and the company's current lawyer, Ruby Spratt. They both grew up in Portland in foster care. And according to the local paper, they definitely knew one another. Ruby was the one who approached the Roottrees to begin with. It was all a setup.
Yep.
Ruby and Felix saw my book's challenge to the Clancet Trust as an opportunity. His mother really had worked for Roottree, and Ruby was a respected lawyer. She exploited my family's greed, worked her way into control of the trust, and ensured Felix got a piece. But they made some mistakes along the way. If you look at the 2 DNA tests that Ruby handled, they were both supposedly tested against Bonnie Hudson. But the 2 signatures that should both represent Bonnie don't match. After Clark and I confronted her, Ruby lawyered up. Ironic, I know. We suspect Ruby had Donatico test Felix against his own mother's DNA.
Oh, okay. So Ruby and 5Ps are just kind of in on it together. They didn't. She's not his actual mother. That's what I was. That's what I was thinking. That she was trying to get back at Guy Hudson or something.
On the second test, Bonnie's sample was tested locally, but Courtney Mays.
Oh, I
was
see.
not.
Okay.
Ruby's been throwing away samples. We think she sent her own hair instead of Courtney Mays, but it could have been anyone's. Ruby and Felix were in cahoots. As for why, they were both advocates of wealth redistribution. A noble effort. But once they controlled the family fortune, they became just as greedy as the worst members of my family. The money corrupted them. They were so eager to personally wield the wealth for their own cause that they sabotaged any other claims.
Yep.
That finally brings us to Anonymom, aka Beatrice Watts. Her tales of Guy's parties and payoffs were true. She even approached Ruby before 5Ps was on news time. Ruby used Beatrice's truths to make Felix's lies feel real, then ruin the DNA test so that Beatrice looked phony in the public court of opinion. I feel worst for her in all of this.
Yay! Good job, Courtney.
While Ruby and Felix stole the show, there were some other potential new family members as well. Miracle Roottree was less of an open and shut case. That said, it's very likely he had a son with Mary Beth Clementine, not Stewart. Mary Beth adopted him before she ever set foot in Butler County. That leaves Mark. The timeline fits. He showed up about 9 months after Mary Beth visited Miracle. And the basket baby story is a bit too convenient. If that's not enough on its own,
yeah,
it was
this
also
Tostarito
bailed
piece
out by the sister of Edith Roottree, Miracle Jr.'s wife, after she changed her name to win that silly contest. Our best guess is that Mark was told by his mother whose son he was, and used that fact to put some pressure on Miracle Jr. We have no real proof of that, but nothing else really makes sense for why they'd be connected in that way.
Cool. I like that even they're like,
the most ambiguous.
eh.
Gwyneth was able to coerce Elias to do things he wouldn't have otherwise done. like pressure to include me in the family. My son even mentioned them arguing about someone named
Yeah,
Jeanette.
this is the strongest case that it's blackmail, basically, that they used it on each other.
Combined with Gwyneth's lisp, it's possible the name was actually Bess. Unfortunately, all we know about Bess Williams is that she wrote his book and died not long after, leaving her only son an orphan. The timeline fits with Wildcat, but there's no record if she had any other relationship. Honestly, I wouldn't say we had enough evidence either way. I wouldn't be surprised if Elias cheated. Of course, I'm a bit biased. Regardless, we haven't gotten in touch with any of the Williams clan yet. That means we haven't been able to do a DNA test. As Clark mentioned, from here on out, all of our DNA tests will be in person for both parties.
So that was correct. That would have been correct. I like that. Okay.
Lastly, we have a bit of a curveball. Ron Roottrees isn't related to us by blood. Gwyn was definitely pregnant, so it's likely Robbie is. When Ron and Robbie went to visit their mother at the end of her life, something changed. Additionally, there have been a few rumors circling around Ron. RR Productions canceled the Guys Like Us remake due to the director's illness. At the same time, Ron's wife Penelope began doing benefits for Huntington's disease, stating that she had become familiar with it. Huntington's is the same disease that Gwyn's former co-star Leslie Florence had. It's passed from parent to child. It can't skip a generation. Because Gwyn and Wild Bill didn't have Huntington's, and Ron seems to, it's impossible Gwyn was his mother. I recently confirmed all this with Ron. At the end of her life, Gwyn told Ron the story. Leslie and Bill had an affair the same year Leslie learned she had Huntington's. Leslie got pregnant. Leslie wasn't likely to survive to see her child grow up. And even if she did, she didn't want to be a burden. She begged Gwyn and Wild Bill to adopt her child. Gwyn did. Mere weeks after she found out she was having her own son, she also took in Ron.
Wow.
Wild Bill was a problem. Unreliable and a serial adulterer. Gwyn divorced him and never saw him again. Gwyn had already told Starlet she was pregnant, so it never really made waves when people saw her with a child in Paris.
Oh, so it was so close that it was actually like, wow, that's interesting. That they're actually not like a older, younger brother dynamic. Not really. They're very close.
There was gossip during her divorce when she was discovered to be pregnant again. In actuality, it was the final months of her only pregnancy.
There was gossip during her divorce when she was discovered to be pregnant again. Yeah.
To lay low, she stayed in Paris long enough that even her own family never had reason to question the timeline. It's one heck of a story, and frankly, nobody could be expected to piece the timeline together, not with what few mentions of Gwyn's past have survived. But the Huntingtons itself? That's proof.
Ding.
Ron suing Robbie to remove him from the Clancid Trust was a huge moment in my story.
Which is so funny because it's the other way around.
For this entire investigation. Finding out that it's been pretty much backwards this whole time has been a bit surreal. So that's where we're at. Looking over the information you sent us was invaluable. You got everything absolutely correct. Why did we even bother hiring a team? You figured it all out solo. All this information, this entire story. It's a lot, in more ways than one. Some of it has the potential to destroy marriages and ruin relationships. We're handling it all very, very carefully. But we couldn't have gotten here without you. And with that, I guess our tale has finally, truly come to an end. What a strange one it was. No words can express how grateful I am to you for untangling this mess. Honestly, I've had enough of my family's eccentricities and scandals for one lifetime. I imagine you have as well. And if not, well, there's always Elias.
Ah, yes, give me more.
Attention, Roottrees.
Yeah.
This is 5 pieces.
Come on.
From the real,
Yeah.
you know, the place you ain't ever lived.
Yay.
You say
Hell,
money
It's the root of all your problems. Of all your problems.
Y'all are hypocrites, sitting back in your massive estates, built from the cash that your ancestors gave you, acting like you somehow deserve it, based on your family's creations. Yo, but looky here, sonny, don't you come for our money, or you might burn bright in hellfire someday, like that Madsen chick.
Crazy. Let's go back in. We're not done just yet. Okay. Awesome. I'm so happy. We got it all right. Oh, and they're locked in. Look at that. Okay, so yeah, they did lock this in. Yeah, I didn't know if the game was going to want a confirmation. You know, it's one of those things. All right. Well, we finally made it. We're at the end. I'm checking. Yeah, this has been a long episode, but that's okay. This is the end. I want to just see, because so now I'm going to look through the achievements, because there's stuff that we haven't gotten yet. There's 5 achievements we have not gotten yet. One of them is listen to all the musical evidence. There's a chance we haven't found something musical. Maybe that's one of the remaining ones. And then there's some other stuff which I don't really know what's left. I think it's not, from what I'm looking at, it looks like it's not anything like we missed something. You did it. No more hints. We deserve a bubble bath. No, wait. I need to know what the other evidence there is. Shit. I guess it's nothing critical, right? Well, I guess that's it then. 'Cause all your problems. Is there anything else that 5 Piece has? Can I put this into... Yeah, I have a feeling that the last piece of evidence is just like a song. And I don't really know which one it is, but I guess I'll have to do that on my own time, because I really don't know where I would find it. And the game is actively telling me I can't help. Alright, well, that is it. Save and quit. Thank you so much for watching. This has been such an amazing series to do, and I really, really appreciate everybody who stuck through the whole series and watched it. I think what I'm going to do from now on is try to keep like one detective type game on the channel as much as I can. So I'll probably follow this up with another detective type game. This is easily one of my favorite games I've ever played, let alone played for the channel. And I appreciate all of the comments and the fun, everybody trying to solve it along with me. It's been great, and I hope you really enjoyed it. If you are new to the channel, please check out the other playthroughs we've done here. You could click the playlist tab, and that just shows all the different games we've played. Please subscribe, share this whole series with friends, give the videos likes. Anything helps. It would be best to try to increase that subscriber count for sure. Even if you don't watch every video, that's fully understandable. Just to kind of keep up with what games we're playing. Just keep me in the subscription box. Yeah, I think we're going to call it here. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.